Just Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host, Fondue. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about coffee and cheese.
Like cottage cheese or cream cheese?
Nope, we're talking savory cheese.
What?
We're going to discuss Finland,
Ooh.
Latin America,
Wow.
Korea,
Ooh.
and we're going to find out where you can buy cheese-flavored coffee.
Whoa.
And of course, no episode would be complete
Nope.
without our very cheesy joke.
Yeah, joke.
Stay tuned for episode 79, Gouda Morning, on Just Cheesy the Podcast. I don't know about you, Cheesy, but when I think of cheese and coffee, I think cheese Danish.
Yeah.
Or some sort of strudel with cream cheese. Maybe cottage cheese with a little sugar or fruit.
Sure.
Maybe something like tiramisu.
Yeah.
Some sort of coffee cake.
Ooh, yeah.
But I definitely don't think of things like Gouda
Ew, no.
or virtually any type of cheese in my coffee. But according to coffeeaffection.com, in Finland, you would do just that.
Really?
They have something called kaffeost.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry in advance for my pronunciation
Yeah.
of the next couple of things.
Yeah.
Kaffeost is a combination of hot coffee and a specific type of cheese.
Ooh.
The cheese is called loipa juusto,
Oh, no.
and it sort of means bread cheese, even though there's no bread,
Really?
and it's 100% cheese.
Whoa.
It's named that because it's very absorbent.
Oh.
And it's also squeaky, so it sounds a little bit like cheese curd to me.
Yeah.
When compared to something like cheddar, the article goes on to say that this cheese is lighter and sweeter.
Oh.
They also say because it's a little bit lighter and a little bit sweeter, it's made from milk, so adding that
Okay.
to coffee is kind of like making a coffee with cream and sugar.
Sure.
In order to prepare kaffeost, you'll take a few cubes of the cheese
Okay.
and you'll place it in your coffee.
Of course.
You'll let it soak for a little bit.
Oh.
Then you'll pull your cheese out of the coffee and eat it like that.
Ew.
Apparently, according to this article, they were not used to eating the cheese wet, so
Yeah.
it did have a different texture than they were used to.
Ooh.
But it kind of got some of the roasted coffee flavor,
Ooh.
and they said it tasted like it had been smoked. And of course, then the coffee also took on some of the flavors of the cheese.
Ew, yeah.
Since neither of us has tried it, it might be nice not to knock it until we do.
Okay.
According to atlasobscura.com, people of Lapland, Norway, Sweden, and Russia also enjoy something like kaffeost.
They do?
This article describes this cheese bread.
Huh?
In order to make it, milk gets curdled, baked, and dried into thin rounds.
Whoa.
This allows the cheese to be preserved for up to a year.
Holy cow.
And they describe eating it, of course, with coffee.
Yeah.
And also almost like a cracker where they
Wow.
would cover it with jam or syrup.
Yum.
Cafe Yost, not a sponsor,
Nope.
but if it was, the ad would go right here. Have you ever wanted to listen to the web?
Yeah.
Well, Newsly makes that possible.
They do?
They're an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android.
Super app.
You can listen to trending articles on the web on topics that you choose and get them read to you in a natural human voice.
What kind of topics?
Sports,
Cheese?
tech, business, science.
Cheese?
I'm sure there's even cheese.
Yay.
They even have an entire section for podcasts.
Are we there?
Of course we are.
Ooh.
It's one of my new favorite podcast apps. They even have digital radio.
Holy cow.
Just go to www.newsly.me to download it free.
Whoa.
Or use the link in the description. If you use the promo code CHEESY,
Cheesy.
that'll get you 1 month free premium subscription.
Yay. Newsly.
Now, back to the podcast. According to roastycoffee.com, there is another country that likes to put cheese in their coffee.
Really?
In Colombian coffee houses,
Ooh.
you'll find something called cafe con queso
Ooh.
or chocolate completo, which is hot chocolate with cheese.
Ooh, yum.
Similar to Cafe Yost in Finland, cafe con queso requires a very mild cheese similar to mozzarella.
Ooh.
The cheese is left in the coffee to impart taste.
Yum.
They say here in the article, once the drinker is happy with the amount of sweet, creamy flavor the cheese has added,
Okay.
you would take the cheese out and you would eat it.
Ooh.
They even say that some people like to spread it on bread.
Ooh, yum.
And according to foreignfork.com, The Colombian hot chocolate with cheese is also delicious.
Really?
Homemade hot chocolate is made.
Ooh.
Soft cheese is added to the bottom of the cup.
Okay.
And the cheese melts into the chocolate, and it makes the drink extra thick and creamy.
Wow.
There's even a simple recipe here that calls for 2% milk,
Okay.
high-quality dark chocolate, sugar, and mozzarella cheese.
Okay.
And Colombians aren't the only ones that like to have a little bit of hot chocolate with their cheese.
They aren't?
According to vvsupremo.com, this is a Mexican cheese producer who has a recipe for hot chocolate con queso.
Ooh, yum.
This recipe is even richer than the last.
It is?
calls for whole milk, Mexican cinnamon,
Ooh.
cloves, Mexican chocolate, and Chihuahua brand quesadilla cheese.
Ooh, yum.
And they recommend room temperature sliced into 4 chunks.
Ooh, yum.
Of course, as all the others, you're going to put some cheese in the bottom and pour some hot chocolate over top.
Yum.
This recipe also calls for a French baguette to
Why
be
not?
eaten with your hot chocolate con queso.
Yum.
And not to be left out,
Sure.
Venezuela also has its own type of coffee and cheese called Garapo con queso.
Ooh.
According to HispanicKitchen.com, this particular cheese and coffee concoction calls for diced Gouda or Edam cheese.
Ooh.
It says here, make your coffee really hot, add sugar, drop the cheese cubes in, wait
Yeah.
for a minute, and when it starts getting soft, dive in with pieces of bread.
Ooh, yum.
According to BusinessInsider.in, Starbucks in Korea serves a cheese-flavored mocha.
Whoa.
This was a limited-time offering to celebrate the Year of the White Mouse.
Okay.
The drink is made of sweet mocha, and it's covered with cheese whipped cream.
Ooh.
The article says it tasted like a white chocolate mocha with a sweet and salty twist.
Ooh, yum.
Did you know that there's coffee-flavored cheese?
There is?
According to BeehiveCheese.com, they make something called Barely Buzz.
Barely buzz.
This cheese is rubbed with espresso and lavender.
Ooh.
They say that hours after the cheese is made, the special grind is rubbed on the rind.
Ooh, yum.
And apparently that coffee and lavender rub imparts notes of butterscotch and caramel.
Ooh, yum.
But did you also know that you could take part in something like this at home?
Really?
According to en.bosca.com, they're combining cheese with honey and coffee.
Whoa.
So they're taking coffee and grinding it to a coarse grind.
Okay.
They're taking cubes of cheese, dipping it in honey, and then dipping it in the ground coffee.
Whoa.
They've suggested cheeses like Gouda, Manchego, goat cheese, and even blue cheese.
Really?
We've covered cheese in our coffee.
Yeah.
We've covered coffee on our cheese.
Right.
But did you know they make cheese-flavored coffee?
Really?
According to a link on Amazon.com, there is a cheese-flavored Brazilian coffee.
Whoa.
According to the description, the ingredients are Brazilian whole coffee beans,
Ooh.
jasmine, and natural flavors.
Ooh.
We have yet to try this coffee, but if
Yep.
you'd like to try it now, go ahead and click the link in our show notes.
I'm ready for a joke, Fondue.
Okay, why did the cheese go to the coffee shop?
I don't know.
Because it wanted to espresso itself.
Oh,
Get it? It
yeah,
wanted.
I get it. It's silly.
I know.
I know.
But it was definitely a little bit cheesy. Thanks for listening to Just Cheesy the Podcast, episode
you.
79, Gouda Morning.
Gouda morning.
If you haven't had the opportunity, please go back and listen to any episode that you've missed.
Yeah, please.
We look forward to talking to you next week.
Stay cheesy, everybody.